us and them. There's none of that. So this is going to be a bit of a circular flow. And sometimes we'll even pass the audience, pass the microphone to you, so you can share and we can sort of be one and be in the circle together. So before we begin, actually, I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening. So in this particular panel, we're going to start with Bruce Lipton giving a presentation to you all, and then we're going to share in circle together. And before we go there, we'd just like to take a moment to everybody to just come home to themselves. Just a moment of presence. So please close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And just feel the moment. Here we are on Mother Ganga. And just feel the spirits of this incredible land, this precious, precious land. And give gratitude to those spirits for holding us so gratefully and so welcomed. And then we're going to unify our collective field now by chanting 3 ohms. So everybody just take a deep breath. One more. Doesn't it feel so great to just rest in beingness? Thank you all. So we're going to begin today's session, the unified field. And I'd like to introduce a dear, dear brother who I actually really, really call a living legend. He's one of the great scientists of our time. You know, we've had many great scientists, and really, here's another one. You know, started as a cellular biologist, and then went into epigenetics, written many, many successful books. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such an honor to be here, and I want to thank His Holiness Puja Swamiji, my dear colleague and my dear friend Sadhviji, and the collective group that is representing Uplift today. And I'm so honored to be part of this group. But let me also say this. I lecture around the world, but I come here, and this is one of my favorite places to lecture because the audience is so full of consciousness. The audience is so full of heart. The audience is so full of love, and that's you, and that makes me feel really great to be here with you to share this. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you. What we're talking about today is I'm going to present a little bit of the science to connect yoga just from not just the mind-body, but from the mind to the universe, and there's a science behind this. But before I start, one of the things I'd like to talk about is illustrated in these slides here, and I hope you can see the screen because the screen is where a lot of the information is coming from. And the idea is this. We are facing today what is called the 6 mass extinction of life on this planet. 5 times in the history of this planet, life was thriving, and then some cataclysmic event wiped out up to 90% of life. The last time we had a mass extinction was 66 million years ago. That's when the dinosaurs were here, and a comet hit near Mexico, and the comet upended the entire environment, and 90% of life disappeared. All the dinosaurs disappeared, massive life disappeared. In the last 60 million years, we started all over again, building up a whole new world, a whole new environment, and we have come into the picture. Now, the interesting news. Today, we are facing what is called the 6th mass extinction of life. The 5 previous mass extinctions were due to things like comets hitting the Earth, tectonic plates moving with volcanic activity and earthquakes all over the planet. And here's why today's mass extinction is so important for you to know about. Because it's caused by human behavior. We are creating our own extinction. This is not news from today. Actually, as a scientist, we knew this over 12 years ago. It's been reported in science for 12 years that we are facing this extinction. But only in the last few months, essentially, have the public been actually informed of this extinction event. It's coming soon. It's not 1,000 years from now. It's within decades from now. And the fact is, you and your children will be here when Earth upheaval is happening caused by us. And yet there's an opportunity to change this, because the crisis we are facing, the crisis is precipitating an evolution. We are in an evolution right now happening at once. It's not those little problems, it's the collective of all of them that is the problem. We are facing this extinction, and we are causing it, but we are the ones that can change that. And in fact, the change is very much related to what you are doing right here. As I'll talk about, yoga is a way of changing the planet in which we live. Your consciousness is involved in this creation, and that's what this talk is all about. If I go back in history, we can go back in almost every early civilization talked about that there was a garden here. You know what's interesting about a garden? It's not a battleground. A garden is complete harmony. Every organism in the garden is part of one. So it represents union. There was a union of all life on this planet. But then things changed. Some religions got involved, and other sciences got involved to separate us from this garden. And in fact, separation more than that, because Isaac Newton told us that the universe is made out of 2 separate parts, matter and energy. That matter affects matter, energy affects energy, but matter and energy don't affect each other. And I say, so what was separated from that energy environment? And as a result, we end up now finding that we live in a world based on materialism. Science says, since you're a human, since you're made out of matter, then all you should be concerned about is matter. Don't worry about the invisible energy. And the significance about all this is, at the time that science started, what was interesting was there already was a belief about how mind affects body. But when Newton started to do his work and separated energy and matter, he separated the body from the mind. And yet, at one point, not only is this a real problem creator, but what it actually did at the time is it allowed science to come up with new ideas. I say, well, what was the problem? Because at the time science started, the church was running Western civilization. And the church had the belief of infallible knowledge, that the church had all knowledge, that if anybody came up with some new knowledge that wasn't in the church, they were called heretics. And then they were either stoned, put on fire, killed as heretics. So science had a tough time trying to provide new information. But what Newton offered was a new idea. He separated the mind from the body. And as a result, what he said was simply this. He said that science is not going to mess with spirituality, energy, invisible forces. No, science will only focus on matter. And this really allowed science to be separate from the church, because science said, what we do is physics. What the church does is metaphysics. Metaphysics is the story of energy and invisible forces. And they said, well, science is not going to be that. We took the mind out of science, and we separated and said, no, the mind belongs to the church. The body belongs to science. I said, well, what was the relevance of this? And the answer was, it was taking us away from union and creating separation, that we are separate from the creation, that physical things are separate from each other, that you're not even connected to the person sitting next to you. You're all individual little pieces of matter separate from each other. Well, the relevance was this: as long as Newtonian physics was the physics that created matter and energy as separate realms, we had separation. But guess what was interesting about this? Is that the Newtonian physics, which really came from the 1700s, was radically changed in 1925. Because in 1925, a new physics came in, quantum physics. And it changes everything, because quantum physics said the universe isn't made out of two separate things. The universe is unity. The universe is all energy. Everything is energy. Everything that you can see around here is not physical, which is hard for you to imagine, because you can see each other, you can touch each other, you can stand on the floor, you can sit in a seat. And you can say, no, this is matter. I can touch it. I can feel it. Well, it turns out it's an illusion. It's not real at all. And I said, well, what's the basis of this illusion? I said, because the universe is all energy. And I said, what is energy? Invisible moving forces. I said, well, then if energy is invisible, how can I see you? I can see all of you here. And if you're energy, how does that make any sense? And I'm going to tell you what the answer is, and it sounds like a joke, but it's the true answer. The reason I can see you is because the lights are on. And you go, what do you mean? I say, well, you can't see me in the dark. I go, yeah, but what does the light have to do with it? And here's the point. Light has photons, little particles of light. And when the photons hit us as energy, the photons bounce back. So you don't see me, the energy body. What you see is the reflection of light, that I'm an invisible person up here. Well, you can see me because the lights are on. And then you say, yeah, but I could touch you and I could feel you, so you must be physical. I go, no. We're an energy force like a tornado. A nano-tornadoes are what my cells are made out of. You go, what does that mean? I say, you can't push a tornado. If you push on a tornado, it will push back. A tornado can lift up houses and cars. I say, yeah, but what is a tornado? An energy vortex. It's what it is. Energy of that strength pushes back. I go, well, what about us? I go, well, here's the interesting story. Because at the time of Newton, they already knew about the idea of atoms. It was a philosophical idea. Actually, the word atom comes from the Greek, which means uncuttable. And atom represented what was the smallest piece of the universe. And everyone said, yes, atoms are the smallest piece of the universe. But around 1895, something changed. Scientists found there was something inside that atom. And when they looked inside the atom, what did they find? A little miniature solar system. There was a nucleus with protons and neutrons, and surrounding them were electrons like satellites running all around the outside. And they said, oh, the atom is made out of smaller physical particles. But then by 1925, again, the world completely changed. Because they said, what are those physical particles made out of? What's that proton made out of? And when they looked inside, guess what they found? Nothing. There's nothing inside a proton. It's an energy vortex. It's a nano-tornado. It's energy spinning inside. An atom is made out of energy. Yeah, but atoms make molecules. And molecules make cells. And cells make people. I say, so this is an illusion. All we are invisible energy. And you go, well, how does that make any sense? Because it's an illusion. And here is a quote that I love from Albert Einstein, a wonderful quote. And he said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. It's just an illusion. And I go, wow. I say, you know what? In today's medical technology, you're familiar with something called scans, like CAT scan, MRI scan, positron emission scans. I say, what does that mean? They can read the body with a scan. I say, is it like a camera? I go, no, it's not based on light. Scans don't read light. Scans read energy. So when you see this picture through the body at energy, what you're seeing is a picture of energy. It's not photons of light. that, what does it mean? It says all the parts in your body are made out of energy. And it's only the light that allows you to see these parts of the reflection. So the idea of an atom that you and I learned in school, that an atom was a physical particle, that is an illusion. I say, what is an atom? Well, an atom is, because there's nothing in the physical center of an atom. What's in the center? A nano tornado, an energy vortex spinning out waves of energy. And I go, well, why is it relevant? Because I said, when you and I went to school, what did we learn? Oh, atoms come together like physical things and they lock in, and that makes chemistry. So the idea of chemistry in a Newtonian world is atoms are like marbles, and then boom, they come together and they create chemistry. I go, that is an illusion. What you've read, what you learned is completely wrong. Why? It's not there's no physical center. It's a vortex of energy. I said, then can atoms touch each other? I go, it's energy ripples. There's nothing physical, but the ripples can engage and the ripples can modify each other. And so what we see in chemistry is not physical things, but we see what is called interference. When one energy wave interferes with another energy wave, it changes the energy. And what we see is chemistry is just interacting energy. And you are made out of this chemistry. So what touches? Not atoms. The waves touch each other. And I go, well, why is it relevant? I say, what do we call this energy? In physics, we call it the field. The field means the invisible energy in which we are immersed right now. You're all part of a field. I go, well, what does the field represent? Well, Albert Einstein again gives us a famous quote. The field, which is the energy, is the sole governing agency of what we call particles. Particles aren't real. Particles are energy interacting with each other. But the energy controls what we see as physical reality. So while you see each other, that's a trick of the light, because underneath that light, you're all invisible energy waves. Everything is an invisible energy wave. I say, so that field, the invisible, is what is created. I make a pile of iron dust called iron filings. I say, what do I do with these iron filings, these pieces of iron from the file? I say, I put them in a salt shaker. And then what am I going to do? So here's my experiment. I sprinkle the iron on the white page, and you go, look at that, a pile of iron dust. Every time I do it, I get a random pile of iron dust. But I want to show you the influence of field, because this time I'm going to show you the same thing, but before I sprinkle the iron filings, I put a magnet underneath the paper. You can't see it. It's not physically there. But guess what? Now when I sprinkle the iron filings, look what happens. Every time I sprinkle those iron filings, I get a structure. I go, well, what created the structure? Was it the iron filings? I go, no, because the iron filings alone just made a random pile. I said, well, what gave it organization? What took the matter and gave it structure? And the answer was the invisible energy field of the magnet. And I go back, well, this is exactly the most important point you need to know. Matter plus field gives us structure. Now, just to give it a little more personal touch, instead of iron filings, consider that these are cells in a tumor, a cancer tumor. And you say, well, what causes the cancer tumor? Well, when we study physical things, they said the cells cause cancer. Well, let me give you a fact. There is not one gene that causes cancer. There is no gene that causes cancer. I said, then what causes cancer? The field, the energy in which you are living, your consciousness, the interaction with the environment. That's what causes cancer. The invisible energy shapes the cells into cancer like the energy shapes the filings into that pattern. And so the idea is this: we must disconnect from the idea that everything is physical. So this is exactly what Einstein said. The field, the invisible forces are organizing that particle. Now, this is a picture of raindrops falling on a pond. I say, why is it relevant? Think of the raindrops as a person. every raindrop is what we see, oh, a physical raindrop. I go, no, it's not really a physical raindrop, it's energy. But I say, guess what happens? When the raindrop hits the pool, the energy from the raindrop goes into the water and creates the ripples. What are ripples? The physical expression of energy. The energy is shaping the water into waves, because that's what energy is. I go, so why is it relevant? So I say, now watch this rain. And I say, look, all the ripples start to join to each other. There's no separation of the ripples from one drop to another drop. Relevant. You are the equivalent of the drops of water. And where you are in the field, you are sending out ripples. I say, why is it relevant? Because while you look at each other as separate entities, that's an illusion. You are all energy waves interacting together. There is no piece of the universe separate from each other. Everything in the universe is energy. This is quantum physics. And all energy is connected. You don't see yourself connected, but your energy is connected to the room. And that when people come together in harmony, they start to manifest an energy of harmony. Now, let me give you an example. When you see a family like this, you see individual people. And I go, well, this is interesting, because if one of those persons is sick, they go to the doctor, and what does the doctor do? When you're sick, the doctor looks at you and says, what's wrong with your body? What's wrong with your energy? I go, well, they try to figure out what it is, but what they missed is this. That's a picture of light. What if I could just show you what people look like as energy? And I go, well, then it will look like this. And all of a sudden, what are you going to see? The energy waves of each individual are connected to all the other individuals. So why is it important? Your health isn't determined just by what's going on in your body. Your health is connected to everything in the environment. Your family, what's they're doing, the job, what's that doing to you? I say, why? Everything is connected. So if you just look and say, oh, a person has cancer, there's a problem in their body, I go, no. There's a problem in their field, the energy. And the problem could come from just relationships. The problem can come from a job you're not happy with, that you're in disharmony. The environment could be altering your energy. And I say, why is it relevant? Because you're not isolated. You're a part of the whole. And we call this connecting together in physics. It's called entanglement. I say, why is it relevant? Well, again, while you look at each one of you as a separate entity, if I could show you what the energy in this room would look like, it would look like the raindrops on a pond, that every one of you is sending out ripples, and that the ripples that you send out are connected to the ripples of everyone else in the room. Everyone in this room is one mass of energy at this point. And this becomes important because we stop focusing on the physical, and we say, well, what about this energy, this invisible realm? Well, I said, energy are like ripples. And I say when energy comes together, that's called an entanglement. It's also called interference. And that's your energy is entangled with the energy of everyone else in this room. And so your health is not isolated by itself. Your health is involved with what's going on in the entire room here, with everybody else in this room. I'll show you 2 slides, so-called science, but I'll make it simple for you. And here's what it looks like. You see these waves at the top, a red wave, a green wave, and I say, what does it represent? Let me just explain. It's simple. I take 2 rocks, and I drop them from the same of those rocks, the energy, is coming toward each other. I said, yeah, but what happens when energy comes together? Like you and the person sitting next to you. You're both creating ripples right now, but what happens when energy ripples come together? So I'll illustrate it in a diagram first. Here come the ripples, and all of a sudden, boom, I say, well, what do? I say, add up the value. So when the ripples are in harmony, when I drop both rocks at the same time, and the ripples are both going up, and they're both going down, and they're both going up, and they're going down, I say, what happens when those ripples meet? And the answer is simple. Add up the values of the ripples. And I say, the relevance of all this is, let's add them up. And as you add them up, the height of the ripples +1, the bottom of the ripple -1. But when you add them up, look, the ripples get higher. Now they're +2, -2. And you go, so what? And I go, the height of the ripple is power. The higher the ripple, the more power. You go, so what does this represent? It's called interference. The two waves are coming together, and they're going to interfere, but they're in harmony. So they're both going up, they're both going down. I say add them up and look at the result. There's more energy when the ripples are in harmony and they come together. It's an interference, but it's called constructive interference. And now you go, oh my God, so who knows? What's this science all about? Constructive interference, I don't even know what you're talking about. I go, but you do know, because you are energy, and you've involved yourself with other people. Since energy ripples, when the ripples come together, they add up more power. This is called good vibes. You've all experienced good vibes. I say, what does it represent? It's a feeling of more energy. You meet somebody, and all of a sudden, you feel like, oh my God, I know this person. I can feel this person. I have more energy when I'm around this person. That's what brings people together in harmony, because the more people that come together in harmony, the more power we all have. Now, I'm going to show you the same thing it looks like, starting again, okay? And energy, when you all come together and add up your energy, it's an interference between you, and it doesn't have to be another person. It could be a pet. It could be a garden. It could be dinner. Whatever is in harmony with you gives you more power. Now, this almost looked like the same slide, and I said, yeah, but here's what's different. This is very important. Last time, I dropped both rocks at exactly the same time, but this time, I dropped one rock before I dropped the other rock. I said, so what's the difference? This ripple is going up, this ripple is going down. When this one's going down, this one's going up. They're not in harmony anymore. I said, so what's the result of two waves together? I say, so you add +1, -1, what do you get? 0. So now look at it, the result of putting two energies that are not in harmony together. And all of a sudden you say, what happened? Where they interacted, the energy canceled each other out. No energy. When you are involved with an opposite energy, they cancel each other out. And I said the height of the wave is power. Look at what power exists when two energies of opposite waves come in. No power. So it's an interference, but it's not constructive interference. It's called destructive interference. And again, that's a scientific name. Let me give you the name because you've also experienced this in your life. And what do they call it? Bad. I said, well, how does energy disappear? I said, it gets canceled by an energy that's opposite. Energy. Energy is life. If you lose energy, you have no life. So guess what? Your body tells you if you're in the right place or the wrong place. It tells you if you're in the right place, I got more energy. If you're in the wrong place, you feel weak, you feel vulnerable, you feel threatened. And this is your body telling you your energy is being canceled. And I say, well, what is that? Fear. So what's the difference between love and fear? And the answer is energy. Love is adding up energy, more power. Fear takes away your energy. You lose your power. You have no power when you're in fear. I said, well, what's reading all this? What's controlling all of this? Well, this is where quantum physics changes our whole understanding of the world. I say, why? Well, this is Max Planck. He's one of the founders of quantum physics. And what did he write? He writes that, I'll read it for you in case you can't read it. And he goes, all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. So there's a force that creates matter. And he says we must assume behind this force is the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. The conclusion, the mind is the matrix of all matter. What was he saying? He was saying your mind is creating the energy that is creating what you are experiencing. The movie The Matrix, which is about mind control, the name Matrix comes from Max Planck. He's talking about the world in which you live. And the relevance is simply this, that your mind is creating this experience right now. And why is this important? You're not passive, you're active. All of us collectively, when we put our minds together, enhance the power of who we are. In 1930, Sir James Jeans, another physicist, listen to what he wrote, because this is the changing of our whole understanding of the world. And this is what he writes. Listen to what he writes. He writes, the stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. Remember, Newtonian physics, all mechanical, all physical, it's all what reality rates. But in quantum physics, he says, we're going to a non-mechanical reality. That he says the universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. That the universe is from thought. And then he goes on, and here's the most important conclusion. Mind no longer appears to be an intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as the creator and the governor of the realm of matter. What is quantum physics telling you? This is an illusion. That's what quantum physics is telling you. And you go, quantum physics, so what? It's so important. You ready? The most valid, the most tested, the most verified of all sciences on planet Earth is quantum physics. There is no science with more truth than quantum physics. I say, so why is it relevant? He says, mind is creating this whole thing. It's not a real experience, it's energy. We're creating our world with your consciousness, your thoughts. Another physicist at the time, Eddington, and he writes the following. He says, it is difficult for the matter-of-fact physicist to accept the view that the substratum of everything is of mental character. What is the point? Physicists in quantum physics, the most valid science on planet Earth, is telling you you are creating this reality at this moment. You are all participating in manifesting a collective reality. All your raindrop ripples are all coming together in this room, creating a massive ripple. The harmony of the ripple, because of the harmony, what happens here at Parmarth, Nicotan, is the harmony of love, consciousness, and community. What is yoga? Unity, union, coming together. You are creating a union of consciousness. And when you're all in harmony, we all get empowered. And the more of you that come together in harmony, the more power that we all wield. So I said, well, in physics, I told you the wheel is invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. The field that you're in is influencing your physical expression. So field, invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. And you go, so what? And now here's the great connection. There's another word, and it's called spirit. I said, what's the definition of spirit? The answer, invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. And you say, so what? And I go, quantum physics is telling you that the spiritual understanding that has been carried forth for the last few thousand years is not an accident. It is the foundation of the universe. Spirit and field are the same thing. Your spirit is giving shape to your world. Your spirit is shaping what you experience in this world. And so the point that becomes critical is, well, Newtonian physics separated energy and matter. Quantum physics said that was an illusion. It's all energy and it's all field, but all field means all spirit. So quantum physics is telling us that for thousands of years, the spiritual understanding of the universe, which has been separated from us, actually is what we are. We are spirit changing the world collectively. When we all come together, we bring that field into this room and change the room and change the area all around here. Just to show you, this is new. This is from a journal called Nature. Nature is the most prestigious scientific journal on this planet. I say, so what? I said, this is an article from a physicist today. It's called The Mental Universe. Let me just show you the conclusion. Don't have to read the whole article. Here's the last sentence in the article. The last sentence is, you ready? The universe is immaterial. That means not matter. The universe is energy. It's mental and spiritual. Live and enjoy. Well, the most modern, the most valid science of all time is telling you, guess what? This is all based on your consciousness and your spirituality. You change your consciousness, you change your spirituality, and you change your whole activity in this world. And the more conscious you become, the more spiritual you become, the more power you have in creating the character of your life. We are not here to experience hell. We are here to experience heaven. Let's go back. Newtonian mechanics, what did it do? Newtonian mechanics separated mind from body. I say, yeah, but that is the old physics. The new physics is quantum physics. I say, well, what does that do? I say, it brings the mind back to the body. And it doesn't just bring the back to the body, mind and body. It's mind over body. The point is then, look at Einstein's quote. And Einstein's quote, if that picture comes back on, Einstein's quote is, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Well, let's change that now. And let's bring the picture back onto the screen. And here it is. I go, the mind is the sole governing agency of the particle, of matter. Your mind is creating all of this. And if you put your mind in harmony, what do we end up with? When you put your mind in harmony, the material world around you matches exactly what you see in your mind. Your mind is creating this. Where is your mind? What's it looking at? Well, together in this room, in yoga, the mind is based on union. That means the mind in this community that you are in right now is the mind of harmony, the mind of coming together to empower each other, to do what? To create a world that is in harmony with who and what we are. Health is harmony. Heaven is harmony. Yoga creates harmony. And this is no accident that you are here. Mind over their head. It's called electroencephalograph, EEG. I could read your mind because the energy of the brain gets picked up by the wires, and then I could read the vibration like you see on the chart. So we think, oh, my mind is just inside my head. Well, here's something new. It's called magnetoencephalograph. I say, what's relevant? Well, from this early picture of the technology, you can see where the probe is. Where's the probe? It's not even touching your head. The probe is out here. And I say, what is it doing? It's reading your mind. Stop for a second. What the heck does that mean? I'm reading your mind without touching you. I'm reading your mind out here. What does that mean? For a second, think about what that means. And the answer is totally most important for this reason. You think your thoughts are contained in your head? No, they're not. Your thoughts are broadcast to the field. I say, why? Because I can read them out here. It's not contained in your head. You are broadcasting energy waves. And I say, well, why is that relevant? I said, then what thoughts are in your head? Why is that important? Because your mind's job, and here's the job of the mind, is to create coherence between what you believe and the reality that you're experiencing. If you have a negative belief about reality, you are broadcasting negative waves, and negative waves can cancel everything and take away your power. Your thoughts are not contained in here. Your thoughts are the waves broadcast out just like the ripples on the pond. I say, well, here's the relevance to that. What thoughts do you have in your mind? If you have negative thoughts, you're not going to see the Dalai Lama in your world. You have negative thoughts, you'll see Scarface in your world. You have positive thoughts, you'll find love. Negative thoughts will find fear. Positive thoughts manifest love. Those are the two opposite ripples that make a difference in this whole world. And you say, well, is this something new? And here's the coolest part. No, 2,500 years ago, the Buddha said, wake up and go, oh, I don't know how the day is going to go. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be healthy today. I don't know if there's going to be peace. And you start to question these things. What waves are you sending? Negative waves. You wake up in the morning with, today's heaven on earth. Today's the day I'm the happiest and healthiest I'll ever be. My vision is health. Doing what quantum physics has said it over and over again. Your mind is creating this world. And when you start to live in harmony, the world that you experience is heaven on earth. But when you start to be afraid, you will manifest things to be afraid of. Are you afraid of the coronavirus? Please don't be afraid of it, because with that vibration of fear, what do you think you're going to manifest in your life? Coronavirus. And the reality is this: you walk around saying, I don't have that fear. I am healthy. I am complete. I have a solid mind. I am in harmony. I am in love. Why? That is what strengthens your immune system. You can live with viruses all over and walk through it with the belief of what? I am healthy. I am immune to all of this stuff. You can walk across hot coals, but only if you believe it. You can't walk across the coals and in the middle of the coals go, I wonder if I can do this. Because the moment you have doubt is the moment you will get burned. Your life is created by your consciousness, and that's not just spirituality talking. That is the most important science on this planet. Now, to show you something in conclusion, I want to show you, these are a bunch of metronomes. You know what a metronome is? Musicians use it for timing, so they can time the beat. Every metronome in this system is tuned exactly to the same vibration. So whatever it is, it should always maintain the exact same vibration. Now, what I want to show you in this video is this man is going to start those metronomes moving. And now, but he started them, but they're not in harmony. Some are beating left, some are beating right, but a metronome is always exactly the same. So it should always stay exactly the same. But watch what's happening right in front of your face. The metronomes, which are precise, all of a sudden you start to see, wait, they were all doing at different times. And now all of a sudden you start to see, guess what? They're all beating in harmony. Why? Because the field starts getting stronger, and the ones that are not in harmony start to come into harmony. And they're all in harmony except organs for it to get into harmony. But now watch. He stops just the red ones, but all the rest are creating an energy field in harmony. And he lets it go. And guess what? How long will it take before it comes into harmony? 7, 8 seconds. 7 to 8 seconds. I say, what's the difference? If all of you are beating in harmony, and someone comes into this room that is not in harmony, they walk into a field. The field is what controls the world. If you generate harmony in this field and a person walks into this door that is not in harmony, within seconds, guess what? Like the metronome, they'll all come into harmony. And I say, so what's all of this coming to? And I'm talking about the fact that evolution is really the idea of community. The garden, we were all looking for the garden. I said, what was unique about the garden? It was in unity. It was in union. Everything in the garden was living together. The wild animals, the plants, the humans, everything living in harmony. And we're looking for evolution because why? Because the evolution that's in front of us is devolution. We are collapsing the world right now because we're not in harmony. So I say, what do we need? Well, evolution is union. I go, yeah, what does that mean? If we all start thinking in harmony like the metronomes, if we all start sending out positive vibrations, collectively we change the universe because you're creating it right now. I say, so significance is simple. The significance is that yoga is harmony. Yoga is union. And if union's the destination, then guess what? Evolution is based on yoga. And you are here to create an evolution for this planet. You all go out as metronomes, living in harmony with love, peace, and beauty on this planet. And so wherever you go, your metronome is going to keep that beat. And guess what? Where you go, other people will start to become in harmony with you like the metronome. And so every one of you is a seed of evolution. And where are you getting your strength from? Yoga. It's not just your body, it's the creation. And so I want to thank every one of you, because when I come to this environment, I can feel the evolution. The energy is so strong, I have the good vibes. Why? Because your energy is harmonizing with the energy of love, peace, and evolution. And so I want to thank you, every one of you, because each one of you is a seed of evolution that can return us back to the garden that we came into before separation. Union, unity, yoga. Thank you for participating in our world. Thank you.
Big round of applause for Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we are really excited to share something brand new with you. It's literally hot off the press. We are launching a new global initiative called the Global Days of Unity. And it's a radical experiment where we can all come together and infuse the field and make that metronome, that it's an intentional moment, the third weekend of every month. And the idea, the invitation, is that whatever your joyful expression is, what do you love doing? Do you like cooking? Do you like surfing? Do you like singing? Do you like yoga? Whatever that joyful expression is, join together. Let's join together on the third weekend of every month and celebrate that. Celebrate your expression and give this positive energy to the field. So we're just going to share a little trailer. This is just so hot off the press, and we're so excited to share it with you because we would love you all to join us with this.
There is a power, an energy. This energy, but it exists, can alter the state of the world. For example, 40 years ago, a group of rebellious men and women did something that had never been done before on planet Earth. They wondered if by simply meditating, could they lower the crime level? They sent groups of meditators to troubled cities all around the world, and the results were shocking. After a few days of meditation, every city they went to, crime lowered by 20%. Dozens of peer-reviewed studies have documented, replicated, and confirmed this phenomenon. But what if the power was in our hands all along? It was Gandhi who said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Tesla said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy and vibration." What if, like those rebels in the 1970s, we changed our energy and vibration, not just in a few cities, but on a global scale, with the intention to vibrate unity, peace, and love, and send those ripples throughout the world? Welcome to the greatest experiment ever. On the third weekend of every month, we will come together to vibrate unity, peace, and love. Who knows what will happen? But let us come together as we have never come together before, as one human family, no longer operating under the illusions of separation of race, religion, or culture. We are all welcome and needed just as we are. The time is now. Not marching, not fighting, and not legislating, but co-creating an intentional, energetic impact to infuse our collective field of consciousness with unity, peace, and love. However you choose to express yourself, we are all invited to be fearless in the recognition that we are the ones we have been waiting for, and to come with our full hearts to ascend to a new paradigm. See, when one person ignites the love inside of them, the amount of love in the world increases. Just as a single stone tossed in a lake causes the water level all around to raise ever so slightly, thousands of stones can cause that lake to overflow. So like those stones, may we come together in the thousands, millions, billions, and change the vibration of the world to overflow with love. Let's take part in this radical experiment together. Because more important than fixing the dream is waking up.
Thank you, everyone. It's just so amazing to share that for the first time in public at Parmarth, Nikatan, Ashram. It's just great to be here. Mother Ganga, this is like a blessing for us. Really, really, truly. So please, we'll be sharing a lot more of the Global Days of Unity through the festival. We'll be jamming on it a bit more. And come up to us, any one of us, at any time during the festival. Introduce yourselves, say hi, and let's we'll share more of what we're doing and what we're creating, what co-creating, and we'd love to share it. So we're going to move into our panel session now, and I want to take a moment to introduce everyone, this beloved family. So we have here Prince E.A. Big round of applause. He's an incredible spoken word poet, truly, truly helps uplift the consciousness of the world through poetry and spoken word and media. Please give him a round of applause. Next we have Gilron Shama, incredible musician from the Middle East. He's also a poet and a storyteller, and you'll be seeing a lot of him during the festival playing music and probably tickling you a lot. He's fantastic and so funny, so please give a big round of applause for Gilron Shama. Then we have Bharat Mitra, who is the co-founder of Uplift, an incredible, incredible visionary, truly a dear brother. He has been so instrumental in this planet for bringing spirit into the business plane, into the business world. He's also the co-founder of Organic India, and many of you know how delicious those teas are and how amazing they are. So please give him a big round of applause. And next we have Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswatiji, the spiritual leader and director of the IYF and the Parmarth Nikatan Ashram, a true visionary and global champion for causes across the world. Please give her a big round of applause. And another dear brother, Andrew Hewitt. He's another great visionary who's been also working really hard to change the paradigm of business, and to give him a big round of applause. And I think you all know Bruce Lipton pretty well by now. So we're just going to share, everyone's just going to share. I'm just going to ask a few questions and get a response from our panelists here. So we're going to start with Richard, with Prince E.A. Can you individually share, can you share with us, all of you, what does the field really mean to you?
Great starting question. Because the field can't be defined with words. The field, pure awareness, consciousness, existence, consciousness, the Tao, Brahman, the self, the selfless self. But the field is our true nature. And it's our nature when we let go of our ideas about who we are. The good, the bad, the right, the wrong. When we let all of this go, we find ourselves falling into this field.
The field. My name is Gilron Shama. This is my field in my life, my native, in my life. The first time I landed in this field, India, in 1990, I took the train, and on the train passed a blind kid. And he was singing, Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Hanuman, Sri Guru Ram Ananda Bhagwan, Sri Guru Ram Ananda Bhagwan. I didn't know what it means, but it was a field for me. Now, this bhajan connect to my message in life. Sitaram, the divine female presence, our mother, she is the creator of the field. In the Middle East, we have an ancient prophecy say, times are coming when the big mother is coming back. We call her Shekhinah, the presence. And that's what's happening in the world. In many ways, grace and merciful and justice and peace is coming. That's what we believe, and that's the field we're creating. Hanuman. Hanuman is the ultimate servant, the ultimate service. I know it from the world of music. When musicians meet, even rock and roll musicians that are not always conscious, we have a certain roles we play when we meet. No one witnesses it. We create a field. First of all, we are laughing on each other. Humor is creating a field. Then we are tuning our instruments. Then we're listening to each other. And then by a secret alchemy, each one chooses when it is his solo, his frequency, individual frequencies coming out. That's for the field to make God laugh, to make God happy. It's enough that God was revenging, angry, old man with the beard in the sky. These times are finished. Now it's our time to tell God jokes, to make him happy. How we do it? Simply, just with our own self being happy, working on it to be happy. So, hug each other, smile to each other, and create a feel of peace, of unity, of love, and join this nation, because all other flags, all other nations currently separate us. So I wish us a good field of energy in this festival, healthy, pure, and may all beings be happy.
Beloveds, it's truly beautiful to be with all of us, and deeply grateful for all the good vibes that we share. I also want to tell Bruce that I've seen tens of Bruce presentations. Richard, so beautiful, true nature, when we wake up from illusion of separation. And here is a moment for all of us. To listen carefully to the heart space. How come banks of Mother Ganga in this divine ashram, Parmarth, at the company of so many visionaries and yogis, beings of light. How do we remain connected, not just during this week? First, how do we make this week the most meaningful, the most authentically truthful, addressing the deepest longing of our hearts? How do we collectively infusing the collective field with love, with light, with consciousness, with unity. But also, how do we open ourselves to be available, to remain in service when we are charged, as we go back to literally every country on the planet? How do we remain connected, present, and collectively keep on infusing the collective field of consciousness with love, with light? So many of our brothers and sisters can wake up to recognize our true nature of unity, which is already what it is. Will be an open invitation for us to explore together and to co-create together a field in which we can remain connected, to be in service of awakening, to be in service of love. I'm grateful to be here and truly looking forward for all of us to remain awake and present and courageous in this exploration, because the time is right now. Hari Om.
To be able to be together in this field. And it's so exciting, because from the Indian spiritual tradition, I know Bruce spoke about what the Buddha said 2,500 years ago, and even thousands of years before that, we have teachings from sages and saints and rishis who sat literally here on the bank. They opened themselves without devices, without PowerPoint, us core mantra. Soham, I am that, the capital T, that. The field is that, as has been said so beautifully in so many different ways. And of course that's the point, because each of us is going to get in there a different way. But is that which we are at the core, at the highest truth? And it is that through which we are creating. So it's both. If you think about a wave in the ocean, for example, so the wave is this section of time and space, but the core is divinity. Like the wave on the ocean, if you took a spoonful or a dropperful or a cup of water out of the wave and you went back into a science lab and you looked at it under a microscope, that scientist would not say wave. That scientist would say ocean. And so although in that intersection, very brief, of time and space, that persistent illusion, it seemed to be a wave, although it was also a wave, at the core, it was exquisite, by the way. Spiritually, people tend to think of the body as this encumbrance, this thing to be overcome, some kind of obstacle on our path, but it isn't. The body is this exquisite, amazing creation of the divine. Each other, with the sunsets, with the flowers, with the rivers, with the mountains, with the water, with all of that. And it isn't us. at the core, who we are is field. But we are the field that is, it's ever dynamic. It's not static. The field is creating itself. And so we are that energy of creation. And as Bruce was speaking about with regard to the mind and it sending out that energy, there's a beautiful mantra from the scriptures that says, Man eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. What it means is, the mind is the reason, the creator, the giver of your ultimate freedom, your moksha, your liberation, or your bondage. It's not about the society you live in. It's not about your family. It's not about your job. It's not about your salary. It's not about interest rates. It's not about anything other than your mind. And when we chant in our meditation, in our yoga classes, and all of these beautiful opportunities we have to connect, when we chant Soham, when we chant Aham Brahmasmi, it's not just words, it's not just sounds. Can you actually connect with that energy within you? That truth of who you are that is the creator. Create that which we have and that which we are aware that we have. So an air conditioner can only give cold air. It's all it's got. Stand under it right now, it would feel very nice. Stand under it in the middle of winter. When you're freezing, you're going to get pneumonia. But it's not the air conditioner's fault. It's just, that's all it's got. Generates cold air, manufactures cold air. That's what it's going to give you. And for each of us, we have to really ask ourselves, what is it? What is it I want to put into the world? Because we can only give that which we are, experiencing, creating within ourselves, manifesting within ourselves. And then lastly, of course, we realize, as our meditation gets very deep and very exciting, that there is no inner, there is no outer. It's not about me inside here giving something into the outer. It's actually about that space in which there is no place I end and you begin, in which I actually look out and see me in you. And together, in that moment, we are creating the field that we live in, and then that manifests out from us. And of awakening, enlightenment, transformation, both within ourselves as well as in the energy around us. It is energy of awakening. And now it's just up to us to say, yes, yes, yes. And to allow ourselves to be consciously permeable. We're permeable anyway. As Bruce shared about the frequencies, we are impacted by the energy around us anyway. But if we bring consciousness to that, then we actually are able to consciously contribute to and change that ripple impact. And that's what we're here for. So thank you for consciously coming together with us in creating, becoming, realizing, experiencing that field, and then that creation of the field out. Because the field is not only that which creates, but it's that which gets created. So it creates out of itself. And whatever the ingredients of the field are, those are the ingredients of that which gets created. So we are the creator, and we are the creation. And here we are to create that.
That. It's a clever question, Chris. What does the field mean to us as the field is beyond meaning? It's beyond an ism, it's beyond a concept, beyond some sense of identity, which is why it's the place where we are truly liberated. For me, the field is experienced when we arrive together in a place of presence and we remember that what is. And like you beautifully said, Sadhviji, that's the stillness of the ocean, that place of ever-present witnessing. But that's not just the field. That field is also the turbulent ocean where we're moved into action. We're moved by the spark of creation itself. And this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, to stay in that good vibes as we move into action, as we move into connection with each other, and so often stumble on separation. Rumi said, out in the distance, there's a field beyond right doing and wrong doing. I'll meet you there. That is the field.
I don't know what the field is. No, actually, I just spent some time trying to talk about the field, but what was wonderful for me as a scientist was simply a very important evolution in my own life. I was trained in a Newtonian field. I was teaching medical doctors about body as separate from all the energy. But the most important thing when I started to understand the nature of field and quantum physics was the revelation that just changed my life in an instant, and that was this. We are not the body, we are the field. We are shaping the body. But what I caught at that moment in my whole life was, we are immortal. The field is always here. The particles come and go. That you are an eternal existence of a field. And not only is the field shaping the particle, but in this case, we are shaping the field. We are all co-creators of a world. And in our harmony, when we come together, we can create the heaven on earth that we were provided when we got here. And it's time for us to take back the power of your creation. You are not an accident. You are a creator. And in that creation, collectively, we return to the garden. And that is what we're being called upon at this time, as the garden is under threat from thinking that is not in harmony with life, thinking that is not in harmony with love, and bringing it here and just really focusing your heart, your love, and your harmony is the evolution that this planet is asking for. We're all participants in the greatest dream ever. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we're going to move on to our next question. So if we are all so connected by this great thing, this cosmic reality called the field, and we are truly the embodiment of love, why is the world so disconnected?
Test. Okay, it works. You ever seen a dirty mirror? It's got streaks on it. It's got a little mud and a couple scratches. You look into it, you don't see yourself as you truly are. It's only until we clean off this mirror, we polish this mirror, can we see ourselves as we truly are. It's only until we remove ideas about who we think we are, concepts that have been given to us, fed us, to divide us. When we remove all that, then we can see ourselves clearly. So this is the reason why we know all of this mentally. But it's only until we go beyond the mental faculties that we will fall into this field of love.
Connection and disconnection. I couldn't fall asleep in the night. I was so excited from everything. So it makes you sleep better. So I said, I'll make the tea. And I'm pouring the water into the electric can, and I'm switching it on, and I'm waiting, and I wait. The water is not boiling. I say, oh, why it's not boiling? I'm getting nervous, and I'm looking, and then I realized I didn't put the electricity in. So that's the first thing we need to do, to put that's like you said, to be near who we love, who give us good energy. Of life is the same word of smiling. Your life meaning smiling. The same letters, the same energy. So you need to do a little effort to connect. The ultimate connection in Hebrew, in Arabic, in ancient Persians, we say shalom, salam. It's come from three meaningful roots. The first part is shal. Shal is a special root verb for taking your feet naked. That's the first meaning of peace, shalom. Take off your shoes. That's what the divine spirit told Moses. You want to initiate yourself? Take off your shoes. So first of all, it's so rare. We are all here barefoot. So magical. That's the basic thing. We dreams, the languages and the ideas that we dressed up from childhood. Dare to take off. And then Vav, Shalev, meaning Shanti. Shanti. Be calm. Even if the connection is not happening, what will help you to connect is to be calm. Remind yourself. I need to remind myself all the time to be calm. And the third one is Shalem. Shalem means whole. So, remember, one way to take it is to look on the ancient word shalom. First, take off your habits, your shoes. Give respect to the presence. There is something beyond. Second, always remember to be shanti, calm yourself. Everything will be better. And then, the whole thing, even if you don't see it, even if it disappears from your senses, believe there is a whole thing around us. Thank you so much. We are connected.
We are connected. That's the truth. the unconditional truth is that we are connected. And I think what the world reflects to us, that we are connected in confusion. Too many of us are lost in the delusion of separation. In this earthly existence, in this dense dimension, it seems to be easy to get confused, as if we're separate from each other. And so, possibly, the calling for all of us, those who have been graced with the inspiration to look deeper, to recognize the nature of unity as that which already exists. Is not that we need to unite, we are already united. And yet, there is great courage and humbleness on us. Because the movement, the family of love and consciousness is operating and still expressing out of the conditions and the programs of separation. I just saw two yoga teachers arguing which pose is the right one and which yoga is the right one. I've been involved with many different organizations in service of the earth, in service of love, but the level of convergence of energies between those organizations, sometimes it's so limited. The pragmatic requirement of the words, what is mine, what is yours, who have the fame, who have the glory, who have the rights, who have the money, who have what the hell it is that causes us to perceive separation. So there is a moment where the world reflects to us the confusion of separation is creating the sixth mass destruction. We are in the safe roots of destructive self-extension. And at time, from the confusion of separation, it seems that the most urgent things to do is to take care of the symptoms, save the rainforest, save the water, save the women, save the children, save whatever it is that we wish to save. And it's all important. But what it is that will really make a transformative, sustainable change? Richard beautifully spoke about the mirror. There is a beautiful Urdu poet who says, my whole life I've been polishing and cleaning the mirror just to recognize at the end the world. But we need to change ourselves. We, all of us here, need to have the humbleness and the courage and the devotion to transcend the limitation that separate us, resonate the field of love, of unity, and the world will change on its own. And please, 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 inquire into Global Days of Unity and into Uplift.Love. This is a field for all of us. Each and every one of us is a unique expression of the field. And it's only when we all come together that a new emergence of a new humanity that is connected to our true nature can emerge. Let us really open up to be present with this unique invitation to be in service of light, of love, of unity. Hari Om.
So, first of all, this illusion of separation that we keep speaking about is one, because I know so many of us shift immediately into, oh my God, another thing I'm wrong about. Oh my God, another way that I haven't understood, another way I'm damaged, another way I'm stupid, another way I don't get it. So it's important as this conversation is taking place not to allow yourself to go to that place of, oh yeah, another ignorance, another problem. This is something that all of us were raised into from early childhood, assuming you were raised by humans. This is what we get. Because of course, the humans who raised each of us were humans interacting with their own karmic package, their own journey, their own issues, their own stuff. And in that, in doing the very best that they could with beautiful intention, they, the culture around us, everybody from childhood reinforces that separation. Some of it is seen as positive socialization. So don't eat those. Those are Billy's cookies. Those aren't your cookies. They're Billy's cookies. That's Johnny's truck. Don't play with it. It's not yours. Don't grab. Right? This is how we socialize children. You are different. We say, why can't you be like so-and-so? We reward that which is of the body, of the action, of the illusion. So you come home with a straight A report card, and what do you get? Oh, come, sit on mommy's lap, have cookies, you are the good boy, you're the good girl, you're the smart one. Come home with a fail, and what do we get? A complete withdrawal of love. And so what we end up with is this very, very deep-seated, not just belief, but way of knowing, which is who I am is how I perform. Who I am is what I do. Who I am is what I look like. Oh, you're the pretty one. That's right. Your sister's the smart one. You're the pretty one. Okay. So this is how we get raised and acculturated. And so realize that that illusion is one that for the decades of our life has been very, very deeply being ingrained into us. Now, we are realizing that's not true. Actually, I'm spirit, I'm soul, I'm consciousness, I'm awareness, I'm love, I'm truth, I'm God, I'm whatever word we use. But don't feel badly about that illusion that you've walked in with. As my guru, Puja Swamiji, always says, whenever you wake up, it's morning. So we now have that. And the last piece to mention is one of the most beautiful ways, as Chris asked, how do we break out of this illusion? Yes, our spiritual practice, our meditation, our full yoga. But the easiest way is love. Because the minute you love, there no longer is me and you. If there's me and you, it's lust. Or it's a contract basis sort of, you do what I want, I will then do what you want. If it's really love, it cannot exist in separation. It cannot exist as object to object. if I'm going to love the soul of you, the spirit of you, the truth of you, the essence of you, I can only do that from soul, spirit, essence in me. My body can enjoy your body. My mind, my intellect, can engage with your mind, your intellect. Either I can only come at that from my soul, my spirit. And so love. Doesn't matter who you love. Doesn't matter what you love. Love a spouse, love a parent, love your child, love someone else's child, love a random baby in a carriage behind you as you're checking out at the grocery store. Love a tree. Love the divine in any form or no form. It doesn't matter. Because whatever you are loving, if you're really loving, your loving essence, your loving spirit, your loving soul, which means you're loving God, which means you are connecting to that soul, spirit, divinity, field, creator and creation. So love. That's the fastest, easiest, and most powerful way I know to plug yourself in.
Beautiful. So what has us fall into separation or stay in separation? If you imagine yourself for a moment in a big city, maybe it's Times Square in New York or whatever city you imagine, and just observe the things around you, the advertising, the attraction to stimulation, the sugar, the sex, all the things that try to pull us into something that is not us. Starts to that. There's a recognition that it's not necessarily our dream. Coming here to Rishikesh for me is like coming to sanity. You know, and it's funny because you walk through the streets and there's a cow in the middle of the road and there's construction everywhere, and externally you could say, well, it's kind of chaotic. And yet you compare it to some of these modern cities and all the, you know, all the aspects of that ecosystem that drive it forwards. There's a deeper sanity in places like this. And I think that's really what, in being the field, we create. We create places of sanity. And from that field, we allow new things to arise. Things that are built with a different quality of energy, with a different intention, from a different source. 80% of our waking hours are spent at work. And so when we think about people going to work every day, are they being supported in staying awake, in tuning into their own intrinsic motivation, tuning into source, to wisdom, and being able to act freely from that? What I've seen is organizations that are oriented towards a win-lose behavior, to a game of separation, of us versus them, where you're trying to convince somebody of something, to sell them something, to increase your rank within an organization. So it's a game that actually reinforces this delusion of separation. And if we're spending 80% of our working hours in these types of organizations, no wonder so many people stay asleep or fall back asleep. And so what gives me a lot of inspiration and where I put a lot of my time is around, what does it look like when we come together and coordinate in a way that's not win-lose, but really win for all? And it's people like Bharat Mitra and Bhavani Lev who've modeled this through organizations like Organic India that were sourced from source, that didn't have a mission to accomplish, to win,
but we're free to become whatever it would emerge as. And I feel when we get there as a society, when we can spend 80% of our waking hours tuning into love, sourcing our action from love, and playing for the win for all, we'll experience a radically different existence.
I want to thank all of you for your patience, because I know we're going over time a couple of minutes. So if I could shorten my presentation of this and hopefully get right to the point of from being a scientist. I say, what is mind? So here's the simple analogy. Mind is a computer, and we're born with a mind. And the fact is, before you're born, the system has an operating system. Your computer has an operating system, even before you're born. And then I say, well, if you go to the store, you buy a brand new computer, you take it home, has operating system, you can push on, and the thing, they say, boots up, and the screen is on. Programs. If there are no programs, you can't use the computer. And so a child comes with an operating system, but with no programs. And the first 7 years of that child's life, and that means each one of you, me, every one of us, the first 7 years of our life is to install programs that we can use to become a member of a family and a member of a community. I say, where do you get your programs from? And the answer, and this is profound, by observing other people, your mother, your father, your family. A child's brain for the first 7 years is on record. I watch the behavior of those around me, and I say, these are the programs to be a member of a family, these are programs to be a member of a community. And I go, great. And then after age 7, consciousness kicks in. Because before age 7, we're not operating at a level of consciousness. It's below consciousness, it's called theta. I say, so what? When consciousness comes in, now you can use the computer. Now you can use the program. And I go, but here's the problem. 70% of the programs that we all received are disempowering, limiting, and self-sabotaging programs. And we operate our life 95% from those programs. So how can you get out of this? And the answer is to wake up and realize, A, we've been programmed, and B, we can rewrite the program if they're not working for us. But if you don't know you have a program, it's invisible, and the rest of your life you play that program. The Jesuits knew this for 400 years. They told their followers, give me a child until it is 7, and I will show you the man. They already knew, first 7 years programming, whatever programming you got, that will be your life for the rest of your life until you change that program. So when you find your life is not in harmony, it's not supporting love, it's not supporting health, it's not supporting your place in the world, it's not the world, it's the program. And once you start to change the program, you have power. And the idea of coming here and learning how to take that mind and don't buy the old program, start to put in new beliefs, you become empowered. And so we have been disconnected by the program, and our mission in this life is to put the program in that you want, the program of love, peace, and harmony in this planet. And this is why we're all here. Let's change this old program of separation and finally bring in the program of unity. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a beautiful joy this panel has been. And just before Chris gives closing words, just to say thank you so much to all of you for staying with us. And we'll see you on the GOT at 5 o'clock for our official inauguration ceremony.
Thank you, Sadhvi. Just want to say thank you, everyone, for being here with us. This has been a great first day panel session. And please check the program guide, and we'd love you to come back and join us again. Thank you again. And please, once again, the invitation, come and see us as we're walking around. We'd love to meet some of you, love to say hi. love to share with all our initiatives that we're working on. Thank you again. Blessings.